Good morning, students. Hope all of you have gone through the materials uploaded yesterday. Even the blown up syllabus also I have uploaded. Now today let us discuss about meaning and definition of the term project and the characteristics or features of a project. Dictionary meaning of the term project is speculative imagination or proposal for doing something new or plan for doing some new work or for doing innovative activity. So when we analyze the meaning of the term project in this sense, it requires two important aspects, that is creativity or innovative thinking, and once you create idea about something new, you have to put it in the form of a plan. You have to put it into writing. That means vision and its actual practice are the two important elements of a project. Proposal for doing something new. You are planning to take up some new work. That is called as project, for which you need to plan properly. You have to employ your funds. You have to use your intelligence. You have to put so many inputs in order to raise output from that plan or from that field. So according to dictionary, the term project means speculative imagination or proposal or plan for taking up certain new activity or certain new work. And the term project has been defined differently by many authorities. According to World Bank, project means an approval for a capital investment to develop facilities to provide goods and services. That means you are preparing a plan before making investment in order to develop facilities to provide goods and services. That can be called as a project according to the definition given by World Bank. An approval for a capital investment to develop facilities to provide goods and services. You are providing approval for capital investment by preparing your own plan. What are the things you need? How much capital you have to invest in order to produce goods and services? That you will be planning in advance. That plan can be called as a project according to World Bank. Another authority, Jittinger, has defined the term project like this: the whole complex of activities involved in using resources to gain benefits. Activities that you are undertaking while using resources to gain benefits can be collectively called as a project according to Jittinger. The whole complex of activities involved in using resources to gain benefits. Now, what are the characteristics of a project? So, each project has a starting point and has an end point. Each project has its own objectives. Each project has its own lifespan, and it passes through so many stages during its life cycle, and it has its own characteristics. And these characteristics can be studied under two headings: basic characteristics and other characteristics. Which are the basic characteristics of a project? Again, they can be studied under three important headings. Input characteristics. Input characteristics here means what a project requires or what a project consumes. What are the things you need to undertake a project. To form a project, what are all the things you need? See, you may need land, materials, equipments, resources, capital, labor. These are all the requirements of a project. So each and every project requires certain inputs. Without investing these resources, you cannot take up these activities relating to a project. So that itself is one of its basic characteristics. Then output characteristics here means what a project generates, what is the final outcome, what is the result you are getting by employing your resources in a project. What a project produces, it may produce goods or it may produce services. So the output may be in the form of quantities. So output generated may be in the form of services or maybe in the form of goods. It may produce qualitative output or a project may produce quantitative output. Quantitative output means you can measure it by using certain measures. Qualitative output cannot be measured by using certain measures. So, a project produces a certain output. That output may be in terms of qualitative output or it may be even quantitative output. That is another important characteristic of a project. Then socio-cost benefit characteristics. No doubt each project requires certain input, it generates certain output, and at the same time it has its own impact on the society. What are its consequences on the society? Whether the society is getting benefit from a project or whether it causes any adverse effects on the environment or on the society has to be seen before developing a project. So each project has socio-cost benefit aspects and we call it as social cost benefit characteristic. Now apart from these basic characteristics, each project has its own unique characteristics, other characteristics. I have presented it in the form of an image here. If possible, you can include this image also in your answer, while answering in the examination, or else just proceed with these points. Which are the other characteristics of a project? First one, it is an organized program. Project is the collection of numerous activities and these activities have to be organized together. It needs certain planning, organizing, and it needs certain leadership from project manager, and it involves various activities and these activities have to be systematically organized and systematically carried out. So it is an organized program. Second one, it is a goal oriented major task. Each project has a specific goal. Without objectives, no projects can be formed. Before taking up any activity, any work, you determine your goal. Without goal, nothing can be done. So, likewise, even for a project, there is a definite goal. And it is a major task, not a minor task. So many activities that have to be carried out systematically under different stages. So it is a goal-oriented major task. And the third one, objectives. Each project has its own objectives and these objectives are determined by considering various principles. One of the important principles is SMART principle. About it, I will explain you in the next chapter while taking up that aspect, determining the objectives of a project. In that concept, SMART, each alphabet represents a certain aspect. For example, S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic, T stands for timed. About it I will explain you later. Keep it in your mind. Each project has its own objectives and all its activities are directed towards the achievement of those objectives. And lifespan. Each project has its own lifespan. It will not continue forever. Once its objectives are achieved, its lifespan comes to an end. Similarly, fifth one, single entity. Though a project is the combination of various activities undertaken by many people belonging to different fields, project is regarded as a single entity. All activities are directed towards the achievement of a single objective, or it is directed towards the achievement of the objectives of an entity called as a project. Similarly, sixth one, teamwork. For the success of a project, there should be a good teamwork among the people working for the project. Each project will be headed by a project manager and he will form so many teams for the purpose of carrying out different works. Different teams will be formed and these team members should work systematically and all must unite together for the achievement of project objectives. There should be teamwork. Each one cannot work individually according to his own will and wish. All must dedicate their work for the achievement of common objectives of the project. Similarly, seventh one, life cycle. Each project has a starting point and end point. So many activities are involved in the formation of a project, or while forming the project, so many activities have to be carried out. Just like a human life wherein we have our childhood, our adolescence, youth, old age, that way even in a project also, in its lifespan, so many stages are found. Planning stage, and then monitoring stage, and then controlling stage, and then decay stage, or you can present it in the form of a diagram like this: project initiation, project planning, project monitoring and control, and project closure. 4 different stages are found in its lifetime. In its lifetime, so many stages are found. And then uniqueness. Though project involves so many activities, so many people are involved in the project, but each project has its unique features. 2 projects formed for the same purpose may have their own unique characteristics. Each individual has his unique nature, is it not? Like human beings, even among us, each one of us are unique. Likewise, in a project also, though they are formed for achieving same objectives, 2 or more projects may be formed for achieving same objective, but each project has its unique or special features. And next one, change. A project is required to work in an environment where it is exposed to changes. A project should be flexible. In the changing environment, it should be able to function. It is exposed to changes. You cannot work in a rigid way. You should be flexible. As and when the situation arises, certain changes are required to be made in project activities. Similarly, the next one, successive principle. In a project, we cannot anticipate anything. What will happen next cannot be anticipated well in advance. With the passage of time, depending upon the situation, so many decisions are taken. Hence, we say that successive principle is applicable to a project. And then made to order. Today, customer is a king in the market. You know that he decides everything. Success of a project, success of an organization depends upon the preferences of the customers, depends upon how they are able to meet the requirements of the customers. So here, project is also developed according to the requirements or preferences of customers, made to order. Similarly, the next one, unity in diversity. As I said just now, for a project, we need many resources. Human resources are required. Many activities have to be combined together for the achievement of the objective. And people from different field, people with different qualifications work for a project. Though they differ in their qualifications, nature, or experience, there is unity among the people working for a project. So we say that there is unity in diversity. And then high level of subcontracting. A project involves numerous activities. So it is just common among the project leaders, that is entering into subcontracts or entrusting the works to some outside agencies so that they can concentrate on main activities, and certain activities which they cannot handle by themselves can be entrusted to someone else through subcontracts. So a project involves numerous contracts, and these contracts may be undertaken by different teams of members. That too, these team members may be working within the organization, or the work may be entrusted to someone else. That means it may be entrusted to outsiders. There is high level of subcontracting. Similarly, risk and uncertainty. A project is exposed to different types of risk. There is risk everywhere. You know that risk is common everywhere. Well-planned project is exposed to lesser degree of risk, whereas ill-planned projects are exposed to greater degree of risk or uncertainty. So these are all the important characteristics or features of a project. So characteristics of project can be studied under two headings: basic characteristics and other characteristics. Basic characteristics again can be divided into three types: input characteristics, output characteristics, and social cost benefit characteristics. Besides those basic characteristics, there are certain other characteristics, and they can be studied under these 14 important headings. Dear students, I will be uploading the notes relating to this aspect today in our Google Classroom. Please go through that, listen to my lecture attentively. Hope you will be able to understand the subject, and hope you will benefit from this. Thank you.